This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
That Ric Flair essentially became like a low-key recruiter for Jim Crockett Promotions. As he's working as the world champion, he's of course living out of Charlotte, North Carolina, but the NWA world champion is booked all over the world. So he gets to see talent far and wide. And allegedly, he's responsible for helping recruit the Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express. And before you know it, even Magnum TA is leaving to go to Jim Crockett Promotions. And it happens not too terribly long after Ernie Ladd is victorious. Do you think, and again, I'm asking you to remember something from, gosh, 40 years ago, was Magnum giving notice here something to do with Ric Flair if you had to go back and play detective?
Probably not. I think it was, we again, there was a game plan in place. Had nothing to do with Rick. Nothing. And Rick, you know, the Midnight Express, and all due respect to Nate, you know, they weren't a secret. Everybody knew how good they were, and everybody also knew how unhappy they were working for the Von Erichs. So, and that was a no-brainer. I mean, I would suggest to you that probably JCP was the designated or preferred spot of arrival for Midnight Express, if you ask them back in those days. So, you know, but Rick was in a perfect position because he commanded and still does so much respect, and he's laying eyes on so many great talents that something's bound to stick. So that was a kind of a nice little perk that Crockett had, as long as Rick was the traveling champion. Rick got to give him the feedback on a lot of really good talents over the years, I would assume, or who not to take. You know, it could work both ways. All that information is viable.
Do you think that, you know, there was still stuff to be done with Magnum in Mid-South, or did we squeeze it all out? Did we get all out of Magnum we could have in Mid-South?
Probably not. Probably could have gotten more. Longer reign as the champ. You know, getting him officially in place to the level that you would be bringing in heels to build underneath him, so that he would have an ongoing flow of fresh opponents. But, you know, that was not the deal. He's going to be here for X number of time, and I think that was the only thing I can say right now that would be somewhat of a mystery. Was that 6 months, 1 year? Probably going to be, if I had to guess, he's probably going to be there a year. How long was he there?
Well, I mean, less than a year, and he's out of here. But, you know, I mean, here's the thing. It is the territory days, and, you know, there's not another way to say this. By late 84, Mid-South is perhaps not as big as maybe they once were, but Jim Crockett Promotions is definitely the NWA territory to be a part of.
Correct.
Because they've got the Saturday TBS slot and all that jazz now. So things are looking up if you have an opportunity to go work for Jimmy Crockett, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I don't know that Cowboy and myself and others did a great job in preparing for the future, replacing some guys that were leaving. Again, it was no surprise that Magnum was going back to Crockett. The plan was that. And there's this old school wrestling promoters keeping their word, which is very rare. It probably wouldn't happen in today's world, because nobody trusts anybody. Right. Everybody's got an agenda. Everybody's got internet influence. It's bullshit. And luckily back in those days, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have all those things that allow people to say things that weren't true and could be as hurtful as they chose to be. That's what being on what's it called? Social media.
Yeah.
That's what that's all about, in my view. And I am a crotchety son of a bitch. Why do we have so much trouble in this world understanding that if you can't say something good about somebody to some degree, for God's sakes, everybody's got redeeming social qualities, Conrad. Hell, even me and you.
Yeah.
We just have to look for them sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes harder than others. I misspoke. I guess he starts in late May of '83 with Watts, and I think he finishes up on December 5th, '84. So he makes it about a year and a half there.
Yeah, that's about right.
And then before you know,
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.